man wakes up inside a prison where food decides who lives and who gets eaten. Every day, a platform filled with luxurious meals descends from the top. The people above eat first. By the time it reaches the bottom, there's nothing left. And if you're unlucky enough to wake up too low, survival stops being about hunger and starts becoming something much darker. Today, we're breaking down this disturbing vertical nightmare. The story begins with Gorong, who opens his eyes inside a concrete cell. The room is simple: 2 beds, a sink, a toilet, and a massive rectangular hole. When he looks down, he sees level after level stacked endlessly beneath him. This place is structured vertically, 2 prisoners per floor, and somewhere above them, hundreds of other levels. His cellmate is an older man named Trim Kasi. Unlike Gorong, Trim looks completely calm, like he has done this before. Gorong is confused. He doesn't know how this prison works. Suddenly, a green light turns on inside the cell. Trim immediately stands up. He tells Gorong to get ready. Moments later, a large platform descends from above. It is covered with all kinds of food, meats, fruits, desserts, expensive dishes, but most of it has already been touched. The people on the upper levels have eaten first. The platform stops at their level for exactly 2 minutes. Trim wastes no time. He jumps onto it and begins eating aggressively. He knows the rules: eat now or starve later. Gorong hesitates, but then he spots a clean apple. He slips it into his pocket, thinking he can save it for later. After exactly 2 minutes, the platform begins moving downward. Suddenly, the temperature in the room starts rising. Within seconds, the heat becomes unbearable. Trim immediately realizes what's wrong. He tells Gorong to throw the apple back down. No one is allowed to keep food after the platform leaves. If someone hides food, the system punishes the entire cell by raising the temperature until they return it or die. Panicking, Gorong throws the apple down the shaft. Instantly, the temperature drops back to normal. Lesson learned: eat when allowed. Keep nothing. As they settle down, Gorong explains why he came here. He willingly signed up for 6 months. After that, he was promised a degree. Trim looks at him in disbelief. If degrees were real, he jokes, he should have earned multiple by now. When Gorong asks why Trim is here, the old man tells his story calmly. One day, he saw a television advertisement for a knife that could supposedly cut through stone. Excited, he ordered it. When it arrived, it turned out to be an ordinary kitchen knife. Enraged at being scammed, he threw his television out the window. Unfortunately, it landed on a man below, killing him instantly. As punishment, he was given 2 choices: a mental asylum or this vertical prison. He chose this place for 6 months. Trim then explains another critical rule. Every 30 days, prisoners are reassigned to new levels. 1 month you might wake up near the top where food is plentiful. The next month, you could wake up so low that the platform arrives empty. He once woke up on level 132, so low that almost no food reached him. Gorong suggests something simple. If everyone just ate moderately and left enough for those below, the system could work. He tries shouting upward, asking the higher levels to ration their food. No one responds. He shouts downward. The people below respond with insults. Trim tells him to stop. Respect doesn't exist here, only position. Before entering this prison, each person was allowed to bring 1 personal item. Gorong brought a novel to pass time. Trim brought the knife from the advertisement. Seeing that knife makes Gorong uneasy. He begins wondering how Trim survived on extremely low levels. One day, during their conversation, a body suddenly falls from above. Gorong is horrified. Trim barely reacts. This happens often, he says. People jump, people are pushed, or they simply give up. Over time, hunger changes Gorong. He slowly adapts. He starts eating from the platform without hesitation. Survival becomes more important than disgust. Then one day, as the platform descends, a woman named Maharu appears riding it downward. She is bruised, injured, and unstable. She looks like she has been fighting her way down for a long time. Gorong feels sympathy and wants to help her. Trim explains that she comes down every month searching for her son. She believes he is somewhere in this prison. When the platform lowers to the level below, 2 prisoners attack her. From above, Gorong watches helplessly, but Maharu fights back brutally and defeats both men before continuing downward. 30 days pass. Trim informs Gorong that their level will change the next morning. That night, sleeping gas fills the cell. When Gorong wakes up, they are now on level 171, and he is tied to the bed. Trim calmly explains that food will never reach this level. He restrained Gorong because he is younger and stronger. He doesn't want to kill him, but when hunger becomes unbearable, he will have no choice. For 8 days, Trim resists, but starvation eventually wins. He begins cutting flesh from Gorong's thigh, careful not to kill him too quickly. And just when it seems hopeless, the platform descends again. Maharu arrives. She smashes a bottle over Trim's head and slits his throat, killing him instantly. Gorong is saved. Maharu immediately unties Gorong. He grabs the old man's knife and stabs Trim again. He collapses from pain and exhaustion. When Gorong wakes up later, Maharu has cleaned and tied the wound on his thigh with a piece of cloth. But across the room, she is sitting calmly, eating the old man's heart. Then she offers some to Gorong. At first, he refuses, but hunger is stronger than morality here. After everything he has endured, survival takes over. Slowly, he begins eating too. Once finished, he asks Maharu about her son, the child she keeps searching for every month. She says nothing. Without responding, she simply sits back onto the platform as it descends and disappears into the darkness below. Gorong is left alone on level 171. Days pass slowly. Isolation begins affecting his mind. He starts hallucinating Trim, imagining the old man speaking to him. The guilt of surviving by eating another human being lingers heavily. Finally, after 30 days, sleeping gas fills the room again. When Gorong opens his eyes, something warm is licking his face. It's a dog. Startled, he pushes it away and quickly checks the level number carved into the wall. Level 33. A huge improvement. This time, his new cellmate is a middle-aged woman, and she has brought the dog with her as her personal item. When Gorong sees her face, he recognizes her immediately. Before entering this prison, she was the woman who interviewed him. Confused, he asks why she is here. She explains calmly that she volunteered. She believes this place creates connection between people. She thinks the system forces cooperation and unity. Gorong quickly corrects her. This place doesn't create unity, creates monsters. People don't share here. The strong eat, the weak starve. Those on top survive because those below suffer. The woman reveals something important. According to official records, there are exactly 200 levels in this prison. If each person simply eats their portion and leaves the rest untouched, the food should be enough for everyone. The math makes sense. Soon, the platform arrives. Unlike before, he eats immediately. Hunger has changed him permanently, but the woman behaves differently. She feeds her dog carefully and separates portions of food on plates, saving them for the levels below. When the platform begins descending, she leans over the edge and politely tells the prisoners beneath them that she has left their share. She asks them to eat only what is meant for them so that others further below can survive too. Instead of gratitude, she receives insults. They mock her while eating everything anyway. This continues day after day. She keeps requesting cooperation. The lower levels keep responding with abuse. Eventually, Gorong loses patience. One day, he shouts down aggressively. He warns them that if they keep overeating and ruining the system, he'll stand above them and urinate all over the platform before it reaches their level, and they'll be forced to eat it anyway. Fear works better than kindness. The prisoners below finally agree to pass the message downward. Each level must ration food so it can reach the bottom. Then one day, the platform descends carrying Maharu again. But this time, she is unconscious and severely injured. Gorong immediately pulls her into the room and places her on the bed. She is barely alive. Suddenly, the temperature inside the room begins dropping rapidly. It becomes freezing cold. The woman realizes what's happening. Her dog had secretly grabbed a chicken leg from the platform and hidden it. Gorong quickly takes the piece of meat from the dog and throws it back down the shaft. Almost instantly, the temperature stabilizes. Another rule reinforced. The next day, Maharu wakes up. Gorong falls asleep from exhaustion. But when he suddenly wakes up, he sees the woman fighting with Maharu as Gorong rushes to stop them. His eyes fall on the leftover flesh of the dog, scattered beside them. The next day, without speaking much, she once again boards the platform and continues her descent. Gorong tells the woman everything about Maharu, about her endless search for her son. The woman listens carefully, then tells him there are no prisoners under 16 years old in this facility, and Maharu never had a son here. The woman herself interviewed Maharu 10 months ago. She was a failed actress who voluntarily entered the prison carrying only a guitar. She had no children, no family. According to official records, the child Maharu is searching for does not exist. This revelation shakes Gorong. Was Trim lying? Or is the woman wrong? Gorong feels more confused than ever. The truth in this place is unstable. Over time, the woman finally accepts reality. For the past 10 years, she has been sending people into this prison through interviews, never fully understanding what awaited them. Now she knows. The month passes. Sleeping gas fills the room again. When Gorong wakes up, he immediately checks the level number. Level 202. The woman had believed there were only 200 levels. But she was wrong. She has hanged herself. The shock is overwhelming. Soon, hallucinations begin again. He sees the woman and Trim in his mind. In his imagination, the woman tells him she chose to die this way so he could survive by eating her body. She could have jumped, but instead she stayed, sacrificing herself. The image of Trim encourages him to cut the body. Gorong resists for days. He tries everything to control his hunger, even tearing pages from his novel and eating them. But starvation wins again. Eventually, he cuts her body and survives another 30 days. The next month arrives. Gorong wakes up on level 6. This time, his cellmate is a strong, intimidating man named Bharat. He has brought a rope with him. Immediately, Bharat begins shouting upward, asking the people above to help pull him up using the rope. A man and woman above ask him why they should help. Bharat claims that God told him 2 people would help him climb. They ask him which God. Trying to manipulate them, Bharat says it's the same God they believe in. After some hesitation, they agree. They drop the rope. Bharat begins climbing, but just as he reaches the top edge, the woman on the above poops on his face and releases the rope. Bharat begins falling back down the shaft. At the last second, Gaurang grabs him and saves his life. After the failed escape attempt, Bharat falls into deep frustration. Instead, it almost killed him. That night, Gaurang begins hallucinating again. He sees Trim and the woman who sacrificed herself. Trim reminds him that he only has 1 more month left. After that, he will be free. He will get his degree. Everything he endured will finally mean something. But the woman says something different. Change never happens on its own. Those words stay with him. Gaurang makes a decision. Instead of waiting to survive, he decides to challenge the system itself. He proposes a plan to Bharat. If they ride the platform downward all the way to the final level, they can send a message to the administration. According to Gaurang's calculations, based on how long the platform takes to stop at each floor, there are roughly 250 levels, maybe more. If they can deliver food untouched to the very last level, it will prove that cooperation is possible. And when the platform reaches the bottom, it shoots back up at extreme speed. If they are still alive, it could be their way out. Bharat hesitates. They don't know how many floors exist. And the lower they go, the more desperate and violent people become. But eventually, he agrees. They break apart their beds and remove metal pipes to use as weapons. When the platform arrives, they step onto it and begin descending, level by level. At each stop, they control the food. They explain their mission first. They force people to skip 1 meal for the sake of those below. Some listen, many don't. When persuasion fails, force replaces it. At 1 level, Bharat meets a former senior he once respected. The man listens carefully to their plan. He tells them something important. You can't change people by force alone. Make them understand first. If they refuse, then do what you must. He then gives them a new idea. On the platform sits a perfect dessert, a beautifully prepared panna cotta, the most untouched and visually flawless dish. If they can take this dessert all the way to the bottom untouched and send it back to level 0 when the platform rises again, it won't just be food anymore. It will be proof that the system can change. It will be a message. They agree. The panna cotta becomes their symbol. As they descend, they ration food more strategically. By the time they reach around level 50, they begin distributing leftovers to floors that haven't eaten in days. But the lower they go, the darker it becomes. On 1 level, they find a sick old man and a young boy. As Gaurang offers them food, the boy coldly says that he plans to kill the old man anyway and eat him. The innocence Gaurang once believed in no longer exists here. Further down, the floors are filled with corpses. Starvation has erased morality. Then they see something horrifying. 2 savage prisoners are attacking Maharu. Gaurang and Bharat jump into the fight. It's brutal. One of the attackers carries a sword and slashes Bharat's stomach open. Even while wounded, Bharat manages to kill him. Then, with his final strength, he beheads the second attacker who is choking Gaurang. But the damage is done. Maharu is dead. Bharat is gravely injured. Still, they continue downward. Finally, after passing countless floors of suffering, they reach a level far beyond what Gaurang had calculated. Level 333. And there, sitting alone in the darkness, is a small girl. She looks weak, starving. Gaurang immediately believes she is Maharu's daughter. They finally find the little girl. The platform begins descending again, but they miss the chance to step onto it. But when they look down, they see the platform resting far below, in complete darkness. There is no next level. This is the bottom. The panna cotta is still intact. Bharat hesitates. That dish was meant to be the message. But when they see the girl staring at it with desperate hunger, the decision becomes clear. Gaurang tells Bharat to give it to her. After a brief pause, Bharat hands it over. The girl eats. The message, it seems, has changed. The platform prepares to rise. That night, Gaurang once again sees Trim and the woman in his hallucinations. This time, they tell him something different. The girl is the message. He suddenly sees Bharat in his vision too, telling him the same thing. When Gaurang wakes up, he realizes Bharat has died from his injuries. He is alone again. The next day, when the platform arrives, Gaurang picks up the girl and steps onto it. They descend together to the very last level, the true bottom. There is nothing there, just darkness. Gaurang sees Trim one last time. The old man tells him he has succeeded. Gaurang insists he must take the girl up. Trim calmly replies that she is the message. She doesn't need him anymore. Gaurang finally understands. He steps off the platform. The girl rises upward alone. And the story ends there. This story reflects society itself. Those at the top consume without thinking about those below. Those below suffer in silence. And sometimes, the system only changes when someone is willing to sacrifice. Greed turns people into monsters, power makes them blind, and survival can erase humanity. But even in the darkest system, hope can still travel upward. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video and subscribe to dmitrys for more powerful movie recaps every week. See you in the next one.